right? Crop harvest management system. So I got this idea this year. I started farming a bit, right? During, I think from April there, I started doing some small backyard farming, and I realized that, so if you're a farmer, right, after you've harvested your crops, how do you keep track of them? Is it that you just sell them, or how do you know that, okay, so for pepper, I was able to get two boxes or two baskets, right? And then I sold them at this price. And then, I mean, those kind of things, so that in the next time when you're planting, let's say pepper, you know that, oh, last time the pepper that I planted, I had a lot. So I should expect this kind of projection when I plant, maybe, I don't know the terminology to use, maybe 3 seeds or 4 seeds. I don't know the terminology to use. So this is just for them to track the things that they plant, right? Okay. Were you able to also come up with ideas on the topic? Did anyone come up with any idea on what we should do or what can be done about the topic that I raised?
Yeah, I think I shared the link to you on your what do you call it?
I can't hear you.
WhatsApp. I think I messaged you my what do you call?
Were you the one who put it in a group?
No. I did it privately.
You shared your own with me privately.
Yeah.
I'm looking for my volume something. Why do I increase the volume? Okay, it's a TV. All right. And what did you say? I'm going to my WhatsApp. Sorry, I've forgotten.
Hack me. I don't know whether you have studied like that.
I've not stored your name. Yeah, that's unfortunate thing. I've not stored your name.
Then
Anyway, we can
send
start
me.
sharing ideas.
Yeah, I've sent you hi so that you can get the link.
Okay. What did Hakim say? You asked me about Docker and then Vue, right?
Yeah.
But you didn't give me any suggestions or any features that
It's
we
a
can
link.
add in the future. It's a link.
Yeah, the last link.
Oh, okay. Okay, I didn't open it. Sorry. Um, come on. I hope you guys can see my screen, right?
Yeah, we can.
Awesome. All right, so we have crop name, land size, location, crops, add crop name. So these are like the attributes of the crop, right? So the name, description, the harvesting month, and then the remove crop. Okay. And it was this harvest. So the crop name, the harvest month, the land size, location, quantity of crops, bad crops, good crops, labors, expenses, sales. total sales. What do you guys think about this? I feel some of the features here. But does anyone else has any other suggestions that they can make to this? All right. Okay. So I'm going to start with the coding, right?
I think his features are very elaborate.
Yeah.
I even see that to be far more than what we were thinking we want to do.
Yeah. Yeah, true. We'll try and cover, I mean, we can use this as a guide. So we'll try and cover some of them, right? And then we'll see how far we can go with. I'm looking at probably.
But also, why have I'm seeing two dashboards. Why? I see dashboard.
It's like a continuation.
Yeah, it's a continuation.
Okay.
One. Oh, okay. Yeah.
So what I had in mind is that we are going to have a crop feature, right? So your farm, you plant tomatoes, pepper, cassava, yam, all those things, right? And then when it's harvest time, you have harvest feature. So in the harvest feature, you enter the month that you are harvesting or the particular day that you are harvesting. And then you specify the crops that you're harvesting and the quantity. You get it based on some unit of measurement. So let's say for pepper, you harvested 5 boxes or buckets or baskets. For cassava, you harvested. I hope you guys got what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you are done, then you save that harvest. So that means it keeps track of it, right? So in next time, if you want to sell it, you should be able to do that to the data that you stored. I mean, the harvest data that you have stored. The bit about authentication, we are going to see how Django handles user registration and also login. Probably we'll go on and try the email configuration. I think we need to have some email server. We might even bypass this. And then we'll do the user profile. All right. Okay, so let me start. I'm going to create a new project. Django admin start project. First. So cd harvest project, and then I'll set up a virtual environment, right? So virtual, then the name of the virtual environment will be venv. Okay, so that one is sorted now. So I'm going to activate it. Right. Now I'm going to install my dependencies that I will need, right? I will need Django, and then there's this package called Django Bootstrap 5. Let me search for the name. I think it's been a while I use it, so.
Mr. Emma, when you are, your screen, you should enlarge it so that we see what you.
Okay. Okay. When it comes to this terminal, I don't know whether there's a zoom for it. Five. And then what again do I think I'll need? I think I just need this for now, right? The last time I mentioned that when we're starting with this project, we're not going to do just raw HTML page. We're going to add styling from Bootstrap. So let me go to Bootstrap's website. And then try and get their latest packages while this is installing. Oh, okay. There's a CDN I can use, and then there's this. If you want to download it and then examine our examples. Let me see. All right. So normally when I'm doing tutorials, right, I use these basic Bootstrap templates, especially because it doesn't have a lot of complexities around it. It's easy for people or learners to understand what the view is about, right? We are going to use this sign in when we get to the sign in bit, and then I think we should use the sticky footer on or yeah, let's use this. But let me check and see if my thing is okay. I got an error. Wow. Network error.
Yeah, black. Black.
I've opened my VS Code. I'm going to open the project in VS Code. Okay, so the last time we've gone through every part of the files that comes with Django by default, right? We went through the settings file and then the URL file. We went through it as well. So there are some items that I need to add to some changes I need to make to this. What do you normally do here? It's a list, right? So and then do this there. And then static files. Static then all right, so let me check, see if this thing is done. Well, I'm still getting error. Right, so I can monitor this thing whilst it works. All right, so I'll create a folder called templates. And then I'll create another folder called static. So static is where I'm going to put all the Bootstrap files that I'll find, right? I mean, the CSS and the JavaScript that I'm going to get from Bootstrap, I'm going to put them in this particular folder because I've referenced them. I've made some reference right here. So that Django will identify the files as static files. Okay. So normally this is what I do. I'll just go to inspect or view page source, and then I'll look at, I'll search for the CSS file. Normally you find this Bootstrap CSS file. It's very important. And then you look through for all of them, all the CSS files in the header tag. There's another one here. And when we come down to the simply going to be a JavaScript file to here, that's this one down here. All right, let me place my font so that it's reference settings. Wow. Network is bad. So this is the Bootstrap. So I'm going to create the same file name. Yeah. I'm listening.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's the reason, but you see on the website saying the version is 5.1,
Which version?
the Bootstrap version.
Oh yeah, but the name is, this is a name. You get it?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I think it's a network problem. It's not even completing with the download. It gets to a place with the cards. I'm sure it will get through.
Okay. I think, I don't know, one more thing. I think you've written pip3 install Django and then Django Bootstrap. Or
Yeah.
is that how it works on Mac?
Oh, okay. So with pip, right? With pip, or yeah, with pip, you can install more than one package at a time. You get it? Let's see, pip3.
Okay.
Are you referring to the pip3 itself? Mac.
Okay, so it means in this case we're installing Django and then the Django Bootstrap at once.
Yeah, all of them at once.
Okay.
In the Django Bootstrap main.css. All right, and then we have another file. This one will be named. Let me just name it style.css. And then the JS. This one is becoming a problem. what's the name of the what do I do? It's also easy install, right? Hmm. Then, all right. Wow. You know what? Let me go off, right? And then install this thing, and then I'll come back to it, okay? You guys should give me like 5 minutes. I'll come back, I'll join the call. Wow. I hope those who watch the video will understand. Okay, so what I was saying is, so a block will help you to set out certain parts of the page that you want other files or other HTML files to make changes to. You get it? So you can have a block for the title. Does anyone know how I can bring down this zoom bar here down? It is interrupting my flow. I don't like that. Okay. Awesome. 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 All right. So as I was saying, we have, with HTML, this side of it is the title, right? The title of the page. And then all these parts is the body, right? So in case you want to have the title data or the content or the string in the title to be dynamic per page, you have to use a block to make that decision, right? The same for the content. I mean, any part of the page that you want to be dynamic, you need to use a block to do that. So this is what I mean. So I'm in the header of the page, right? And then there is a title tag here. For me to add a block, I'm going to remove this side of it, and then I'll put the block syntax in it. So block title, and then a block comes with an end block. All right, so in between here, right? In between here, whenever you call this block in any other HTML page, we'll see how what I'm talking about is done. You will be able to make changes to the title via this block title here, right? So I'm changing this one. This one will be like the main name of the app. So harvest portal. All right. So another part that we would like to change is maybe we would like every page to have a title, like a page title itself, right? So like we'll keep this part and make this part to also dynamic. So we'll put a block here, and then the remaining part of the page will also have a block. So I think this toolbar here is very, very problematic in a lot of ways. All right, so here is that one. I'm going to put here blog. So normally I name it page title. And then, so now everything after the H1 tag will be the content side of the page, right? So that one will have blog content, right? And blog. All right. Don't worry, we'll see how these things are used. I'm sure some of you have already read about this or you've done some practice in Django, so you are familiar to this point of the code. All right. Okay, so now when I go back to the browser, I hit run, everything is gone. The title has only the dots because there's nothing to show. Okay, so now let me create a new app, right? An app for the crop feature. I'm going to make sure this project is very elaborate or comprehensive so that you understand when you have access or when you start practicing yourself, you understand every part of the code. So be recommended. So Python manage PY stats app. And then we'll do for the harvest too, right? And normally we'll need a user app for the authentication side, right? Okay. The last time I mentioned that I'm going to introduce you guys to how Django does authentication. We are definitely going to do that because looking at the features of the project, we need a way for every farmer to be able to identify their data by what they have inputted in the system. All right. So in the crop, I'm going to start writing the models for all of, we'll start with the crop, right? So remember the last time we learned how to do that. Crop, class crop, and then we'll have to inherit models.model. And then now we'll specify some information for a crop. So what will be some data we need for what will be the attribute of a crop? I want you guys to give me suggestions.
The crop type.
Come again.
Crop type.
Crop type.
Yeah.
What do you mean by crop type?
Or maybe is it a grain? Is it a tuber?
Is it a fruit? Is it a vegetable? Is that what you're referring?
Exactly.
All right. And then what again? Name, right?
Yeah, name.
Or let's make this description instead. All right. And we'll need to know the time that the crop was added. So created at equals to models.datetime, right? So normally this is what I do, right? Instead of using the auto something, I use default and then I set time zone dot now. Time zones from Django, the utils. import time zone. All right. And then we'll know the farmer, we want to know the farmer who created it, right? Who added it. So created by will be equals to models.
So, please, what are
I'm listening.
the time zone that you said? What does it do?
All right.
What is the difference between the other one?
The time zone is a package by Django. You see, I got it from Django, right? It helps you to set the date of the information. It helps you to get the exact time zone. So like where we are right now, right? What time zone are we using in Ghana? Okay. You can say UTC. UTC is Universal Time Zone. Normally, come again. Someone is saying something. Hello.
I think we can continue.
It's like, yeah, it's also who was saying something.
Okay, so the time zone will set the exact time in terms of date, minutes, hour, second. I mean the full time format for you. You know, this particular field is a date time format, right? So for me, I normally use the time zone, and then the now function here will give you the date. I mean, the current, like now, just now, the current time, for you. All right. So the created by here will be a foreign key. That's because the user is a table on its own. Remember the last time I mentioned that Django comes with its own user table, right? That's what we are going to use. So Django by default enables you, the user, to not even think about the user structure. So they've come out with a standard or generic user table. That's, let me finish that. We'll see where it comes from, and then we'll learn how to use it in the future too. And then on delete models dot set now. All right. Wow, today my code intelligence is not helping me. So from Django dot models, Django dot apps.
Contrib.
Come again. It's contrib, right? Django dot
yeah, contrib dot
models
dot
user. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So when you go here, right, you see that there's already a user class here. It's in somewhere in the Django package, right? And then it's also inheriting something else, an abstract user class, right? Let me go to the abstract user class. The abstract user class has some, it's also inheriting abstract based user and then permissions mixing. And then it comes with some fields. It comes with a username field, first name, last name, email, and other auxiliary attributes that we need to do certain configuration to check whether the person is active, whether the person is a staff, the dates that the person joined, and all those things, right? So with this, unless you need to add more attributes to the user, I think these attributes are standard, right? You wouldn't need to add anything unless maybe your client or the person that you're building a system for is saying that, oh, I want to take the person's phone number, I want to take the person's date of birth. Then you have to come up with your own user table. And even with that one, you need to inherit abstract-based user and also permissions mixing. Maybe in another tutorials, when we start going a little bit advanced, we are going to learn how to create our own custom user tables and how to work with it. All right. All right, so Another thing that I would like to show you guys is class meta, right? So Django models.model here enables you to create a subclass inside this class, right? Another class or a junior class inside this class, which comes with some attributes of a table, a database table, right? Maybe you want to set a table name, you can set it from here. Django by default will set a table name for you using the class name and the name of the app. So the name of our app here is crop, right? And then the class name to is crop. So what Django will generate by default to be something like this, crop underscore crop. You get it? So unless you want to change it like the way I'm changing it right now, you set the class meta, and then under it, you set DB name, DB table equals to crops. That's one. Another thing is the ordering of the data in the table, right? So by default, Django will set it based on how the inputs are coming in. So like if you enter first data, that will go to be the first record to show, right? If you add another data, the new data will be on top of it. So in case you want to set the arrangement in your own way, maybe by the crop type or the description, this is how to do it. All right. So I'm going to set it by the description. And you can see that here it is a list. So that means you can set more than one ordering sequence, right? But is that the ordering will start from the first one. If you add another, let me add another one, let's say crop type, right? So it will pick the description first, order it by description first, and then when it is done, that ordering, then it will go on to order each one of them by the crop type. I mean, the technicalities is handled by Django, so we don't need to even worry about it, right? So there are other attributes like the verbose name. So verbose name is something to do with Django admin, right? We're not going to look at that one right now, so don't worry. So this is for a crop, right? This is for a crop. Is there any attributes that we've forgotten to add? Okay. Maybe we can add image. Or what do you guys think?
I think the image should be added.
So Django models, the model comes with a file field, right? There's also the image field, but with the image field, you need to install a package called Pillow. But the file field is a bit broad because it doesn't only accept images, it accepts other types of files like PDFs, Excel, and all that, right? And it also accepts images. So I prefer to use that one to image field. I sense someone is asking a question. Upload to. So the file field has an attribute called upload to. So upload to is a folder that we are going to create. And inside that folder, we are going to specify that's where the image is going to be stored in, right? Okay, so I'm going to do crops so that it will create a folder called store. It will create a folder called crops and then to store the images inside of it. And as usual, blank now should be added to it. Okay. So the person who suggested a crop type, please ask your question.
I want to with the field dictated by where we are using the foreign key. Have you said you have set undelegate to model.setting now? What does that mean?
All right, so foreign keys, right? This is more about database. Remember I mentioned that you guys should read about databases. When it comes to relational stuff or attribute relations, right? A foreign key relates to another table, right? And in this sense, it relates to a table called user. So what this set now here is doing that when you delete a user record, right? And if that user record has a crop record, what should happen? What should happen to this created by field? Should we set it now? There are a lot of options that you can set here. Let me type them in the comments down here. Should we set it now? Or should we do nothing? And then there is cascade too as well. There are others, but these are the three main ones which you would like to use. So set now means that when I delete, or let's say for example, right? Let me give a typical example. I'm a farmer, I've come to use the system, right? And I realize I don't want to use the system anymore. And I delete my user account, right? What should happen to the crops that I've stored in the system? Should they also be deleted, or should the created by field just be set now? Is this making sense to someone?
Yes.
So cascade.
Ideally, the crops should still be in the database.
Yeah, ideally, right? So the cascade here will, when you do models.cascade, that one will delete the crop record, right? When you do set now, it will just leave that field as now. The created by field will now be set to now. When you set do nothing, it's going to, I've used it before, it's going to give you issues. So the best options that you want to use is set now or cascade. All right. All right, so now I was asking about the crop types. I would like us to use a dictionary for the crop types.
Mr. Emma, since this is a tutorial, sometimes when you put the comments, don't delete them. Once they still will not affect our code, we can leave them.
It's true. So on delete types. All right. Was it AJ? Also AJ, you suggested a crop types, right? Can you guys mention some of the crop types so that I put them as a list for easy reference? I'm listening.
We can have cereals. Cereals.
Cereal is not a porridge.
No, cereals like maize, guinea corn, they are cereals. They are cereal crops.
Okay. Forgive me. I didn't.
Then we have grains.
Grains.
No, you have repeated it.
Yeah, it's a tuple. It's a list of tuples. So
okay. We have grains.
What's the difference between grains and cereals?
Yeah. Grains, we something like granules. It's a grain. Beans is a grain.
Rice is a grain, right?
Yes.
But rice is also cereal. It can be used as cereal. You know what? Let's not worry about the technical.
Then we can have tubers. We can have tubers.
And then fruits, right?
Yeah, fruits. Then we can have cash crops.
Fruits.
Cash crop. No, okay. But it's important, very good. The ones, I think this way is okay. Then,
Vegetables, right?
yeah, vegetables.
I think these ones are okay. All right,
Yeah, they are
so
okay.
in the crop type, I'm going to add choices. And then in the choices, I'm going to supply this data to it, this variable crop types to it. Okay. All right. So now I'd like us to.
So like if if we are using the choices, then it means the max length will not be necessary or
Yes.
still necessary.
I don't know how to put it. Realistically, it should not be necessary, but the car field here expects max field to be, it's a mandatory attribute. Do you get it?
Okay.
So you have to set
Yes,
it.
please.
Yeah.
So you can do this by imagining the crop with the longest name. Then you use that as a guide.
Exactly. 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 Can we think about the harvest as well? Class harvest. So the date of harvest, right?
I think if we refer to Osu's document on harvest, he did a good job there.
Okay, let me refer to that one.
Look, the website.
It has crop name, the location. I think these things might not be needed. What's this? Bad crops.
Yeah, it is okay. Yeah, we can look at the expenses made. Okay, but these sales there, I think we are just still dealing with only the harvest.
Yeah, you guys are getting the idea. It's good. It's good. It's good. So the crop, right? The crop that you're harvesting. So since the crop is already a class table somewhere, this will be a foreign key. Do you guys agree? All right. So
Yes, we do.
to reference a foreign key from a file, like one app to another app, this is how to do it. The first one, you have to type the app name, right? The app name being crop, and then dots. The dot, what follows the dot is the name of the class. So in this sense,
Table. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, and then on delete model. So what happens when you delete the crop? Should it delete all the harvest that you've done for the crop?
No.
Are you sure? Because then what would be the use of the harvest? Let's say I add rice, right? And then I've added data that, okay, for rice, I've harvested like for 5 times, right? And I delete rice. What would be the use of the harvest record of rice?
Okay. Anyway, it won't be of use unless yeah. But it will help the farmer to know at least your total harvest volumes for the year or for a particular period in time. Even though rice as a crop is no more a crop you are farming, its harvest is still necessary for you to be able to measure your harvest volumes.
You guys are making a point. I wanted to do the cascade, but I think I have to agree with you. A related name, harvest, and then what again? What again? The quantity, right? Quantity default equals to 0. And then the unit, right? The unit of measurement of the quantity. Someone made that suggestion in the group the last time. I'd like us to use a dictionary for that. I mean, a list of tuples for that. So I'm thinking basket. Do you guys get what I'm trying to do?
Yeah.
Okay. And then
Bag.
come again.
Bag. Like kotoku bag.
Stack.
Like let's. Okay.
Is this how to spell? Is it like this? Or stack or day?
No.
Is it like this?
Yeah.
Or is it
SACK. SACK is okay.
It seems like
Yeah, that's
stacking somebody.
no, it's the same thing.
Okay. And what again? Let's just use this for now, right?
What about so if we measure kilograms, is it no unit of measurement?
It is. It is. Kilograms. Kilogram.
We can also look at tons.
Oh. Is it like this? Or
Yes, just that's it. Ton.
okay, which one again? So we can keep this. We can keep this. Like
If it were village, if it were in the village, in my village, I've measured barn.
Barn.
Yes, BARN.
BAR.
And yes.
All right. So we'll add the normal stuff that we have to add. Created at models dot default equals to time zone dot now.
But now.
Yeah. And then the created at, right? Created by. That's models the foreign key user. And we'll set now blank true, now true. Related name equals to harvest. We import it.
What is the use of this related name?
Nice. It's good you're asking. So the Django Query Set has a way of gathering data, right? So if you want to get, for example, for a user, right? If you want to get all the harvests created by a particular user, there's a query to write with the user model instead of using the harvest model. So that one you reference the related name. So you can do something like user.objects.related names. Then you have this harvest in the bracket also. Don't worry. These are things that like the things that you are supposed to do, but you shouldn't worry much about. But when it comes to related names, you should have, you as a developer or as a Django developer, you should be able to come up with a scheme to define your related names. So for me, this is what I do. When it's a created by field, I use the plural form of the class name, right? So this one, the class name is harvest. So the related name will be harvests plural. For any other foreign key, right? I'll use the name of the class first harvest underscore the name of a particular field or the foreign key field. It's a scheme that I use. You can come up with your own, something that you feel you'll be able to understand easily. All right. So
It
class,
helps in debugging.
come again.
I say it helps in easy debugging.
Exactly. DB table harvest. And then let's not worry about ordering. Should we use ordering? Of course, to just pick the dates, this date. Okay. Let's see if there are some attributes from here that will be quantity of crops. We have quantity. There's
The harvest month, you know, what did we do? What did we do about it? Or we captured date.
yeah, dates. That's what I replace with dates because
Okay.
harvest in a particular date, right? But if you want to get all the harvest that you've done,
Yes.
since it's a date record, you should
But
be
in southern Ghana,
yeah.
in southern Ghana, we have 2 seasons. So can we add harvest season?
Season, right?
Whether season 1 or season 2, yes. North have 1 season.
The way you said season 1, season 2 is like an American season movie.
No, not at all. We are looking at the farming season, bordering with with the rainfall patterns.
Yeah. So have seasons. You should observe that in the seasons, I'm using integer field, but still I'm able to get choices, right? So that would mean that for all the list of tuples that I have, the first parameter is a string followed by another string, right? But when it comes to an integer field, the first parameter should be an integer because normally the data which is stored in the database is the first parameter of the first data of the tuple. You get it? All right, so have one as first using, and then 2 second.
Let's use main season and lean season.
Second, how do you spell second? Okay, lean, right? Is it like this?
Yes, lean season and main season.
Main season. Awesome. Are you guys okay? Help me.
The seniors are just quiet. They are not talking. Leaving only the class 1 developer to be answering all the questions.
Also, do you also have experience in Django already?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't.
Okay. All right, so I'm thinking we should add another table called farm, right? Or better still, let me create, what do you guys think? We add, so that if you're a farmer, you have more than one farms, right? You like to track the harvest for each of them and then the crops for each of them. Yeah, let me add so class farm. Name or location will be fine. and then size, right? Let me look at this thing that the person did. Location, land size. Land size. So size is all right. And okay. And then I think this is okay. And so Acme, you raised your hand.
Somebody's hand is up. Oh, it's,
Why
it's, it
are
has,
you using blank to now to blank and now? I think they are the same.
Awesome, awesome. So you know, with databases, right? There's now constraints, right? So when you don't set a field as now true, it means that when you are sending a data to a database, you can't leave that particular field as empty. You should provide data for it. I do this measure because sometimes your users will even forget to, or will be able to bypass the required or the constraint that is supplied in the data in the front end. One way or the other, they may be able to bypass it. And if you already don't have any handler or any exception handling now data, it will generate errors that the user will not understand. You get, which is bad programming. So anytime I do blank now, blank true, now true, it is just a check for me to make sure that the user should be able to send empty data for all the fields, right? You get it? That way, there shouldn't be any error coming or any error 500 that the user will not understand, and they'll have to now call me again to come and check all those things. Yeah. And as a care of, it's always important to avoid database errors. It's always important. You can have your logical errors showing, that's fine. But it's always important to avoid database errors because you don't know, it might affect the flow of data.
yesterday, for instance, WAIC database ran into error.
Come again.
And students, yesterday, WAIC exams, WAIC database, they had some error there. People whose results were B3 were supposed to get, no, I think all B3s changed to A1, and then the remark was still good. So if you had A1 and the remark is good, it meant that your result is actually B3.
B3.
But all original A1s were still excellent. So they wrote a press release to notify the public on it. And I'm sure the error has been corrected.
It's always best to avoid database errors.
So Mr. Emma.
Yeah.
So with the Django models,
yeah,
can we write, like, can we join, like in database we can join two fields from different tables? Can we join in these models too?
All right. So remember I said that Django comes with a query set ORM or an ORM called query set, right? So
Yes.
Django knows that as a developer, you will also want to write your own SQL queries at some point. You get it? So
Yeah. Yeah.
Django has a package called, I think it's Python package also called connection. So that allows you to all your like the queries that you want to write, no matter how you want to write it, the joins that you want to make, your comprehensive complex where clauses and all that. You can do that in that particular package or library. We're not going to use that in this tutorials. It's an level something. But yeah, it is possible to do.
Okay. That's okay.
DB table. All right. So we have some 3 tables that we've written, right? I'm going to the settings file and I'm going to add them to the installed application. First of all, let me add is it Bootstrap 5? Let me check how it is done. Because Bootstrap 5 thing, I don't know how I use it. Bootstrap 5, where is it? All right, so after that, there's the code that to add to the settings. And then my apps have crop, have farm, have harvest, and then I think I have user. I created a user app, right? Yes, I have user here. I have user. Okay. So today, I'm going to see if we can start with Django's authentication. Let's start with authentication so that we can get that one out of the way, right? Django sign up. Let's see if I can get Django's from the documentation. So you see the user module I was talking about has this attributes in it. So that means if you want to create a user, you should have the username field, password, email, first name and last name available for the user to provide that data. All right. So in the user's views, we are going to write a view to enable the user to create an account, right? So we are going to do a lot of functional programming here. New user request, right? So return render request slash user slash HTML, right? And then so if request please, you should ask questions, right? So I'll be explaining whilst I'm typing. So what I'm doing here is that now there's going to be a page called new.html, right? So that's a page. Let me make a new user. No, new is okay because it's in the folder
Exactly
called.
what I was about to suggest.
It's in the folder called.
It's okay.
It's in the folder called users. So new is okay.
Okay.
Right. So when the person makes a post request, that means so the person is trying to create a user by inputting their details like first name, last name, their email, and should we make their email the same as their username, or we should have an email field and the username separate? Suggestions?
During sign up.
During sign up, yeah.
Yeah, the email should be there. The username should also be there.
Should be separate, but maybe
Be separate,
on login. Yeah.
Because the username is what is the field that Django expects you to use for authentication. That's for signing up, signing in. That's authentication. So we should make it separate, right?
Yes.
All right, so username. And then password. All right. These are okay, right?
Yes.
Let me add something called confirm password field to.
Yeah, during sign up.
During sign up for you to make sure you enter the right password. Okay. So the first thing you have to make is to validate the passwords, right? Django has a package called messages. It's a very powerful package. Ask me, have you used messages before? Ask me, I know you're there. Ask me, can you hear me? All right, so the messages framework enables you to display certain error messages or success messages, right? I mean, notification, a form of alert or notification for the user in the web application, right? And it is so powerful that it does not store in a database. It is not something that stores in a database, but when you call it, it shows up. And until you have a place for it to show up in a web app, it does not vanish. I don't know how to put that. So it's something that it has to show on the web app, on the web page. Other than that, it will be in the, I think, cookies or sessions until maybe by some logical new improvements code that you put in the code, it shows somehow. Don't worry, you understand it as you're writing this. So you have password and then the confirm password. We are going to validate the password first. After that, we'll validate the username next. All right, so if password, right, and password is not equals to confirm password, then we'll say messages dot error. So the messages framework, it has messages of success, messages dot info, messages dot is it, I've mentioned error, right? Messages or error. I think there are 4. I think success, error, info, and then there's one more. I don't remember. So in this sense, we're going to use the error, right? Then the first parameter that it takes is request, followed by the error message that you want to show, or the message that you want to put across. All right, so in this sense, we're going to say that passwords do not match. All right. And then after that, we'll return return the login page again, the sign up page again for you to change your details. Render request. So what we are doing here, we are using the manual way of rendering forms, right? The last time we saw the Django way of rendering forms. If you guys remember, we created a file called forms.py, whereby we set the attributes. We created a class for the form that we want to. I don't know whether you guys remember, but in this sense, or in what we are doing, come again.
I said we do.
But what we are doing here today, we are manually rendering the form. So that means that when you create the new.html file, you are going to write all the input tags and all those details manually. Django is not going to handle any rendering for us. All right.
Is that Emma?
Yes, this is the question.
You see, if there is the password, if the password and confirm password do not match, you say we should go back to user.new.html. So does this command let the user start the whole process afresh, or it maintains all the tools he has entered except for the password and confirm? And then if it does not, how do we make sure it does that? I don't know if my question is clear.
I understand your question very well. I didn't think we would do that, but let's do it. Okay, so context equals to form data, right? Equals to now. Let me do it into dictionary, right? So when you submit the form, right, we are going to do form data equals to requests the post. And then we'll do context the form data equals to. Now we are going to add context to this. Remember the last time we said that with render, it has a parameter called context, which allows us to send data from the view to the HTML, right? So what I'm doing is that when you submit the form, it stores it into request.post, right? So now I'm storing that request.post back into a variable called form data, right? And then we are putting it into the context attribute, the key here, so that when we return back to the HTML page, you wouldn't have to enter everything again, especially for the first name, last name, email, and user, right? Username. AJ, is that what you're saying?
Exactly what he wanted to ask.
Come again.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. That's what I was saying.
Awesome. So now I'm going to validate for the username, right? So for that, I'm using a try. So user.objects. Ask your question.
Sorry, but please, not the meaning of the if password or password that is.
Okay. All right. What it means is that if there's data for password, right? That means it's coming from here. And the password is not equals to the confirmed password data, then you raise this error. It's the same as me writing if password is not none, right? And password is not equals to or instead of using the it's not now, I can use the exclamation equals to, right? But I mean, in other programming languages, you can also do this. You can do if password, right? And normally they will do the ampersand, the double ampersand. The Python doesn't do that. Yeah. Do you understand it now, Hackney?
No.
You don't?
Yeah.
All right. Let me
Like
put
if the first password is empty or it's not empty or
what we're doing here, if the password is not empty, right? And the password data is not the same as the confirmed password. Do you get it now?
oh, like so it's like you have
this one is in
combined
clear
two
English.
if statements.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm combining two if statements.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. So try user.objects.get username equals to username, right? All right. So what this is doing is that the handler is going to check if there's any user, right, with the same username that you've entered here. If that is the case, then it will raise an error. So let me do the messages thing. So messages.error. User with this username already exists, right? Then I'll return render again. Except how do we spell it? Except user does not exist, then we can pass. I'm introducing new things, right? But I know all these things. I did it with you guys. We've done exception handling, we've done return statements, functions, and everything. So if you have any confusions, it's on you. It's on you. Anyway, do you guys understand what I've done here with this code?
Yeah.
Come again.
Yeah. Well, I do.
All right. So the pass here means that if this is not successful, right, then don't do anything again. Just continue with the code, right? So that's the second check. What else can we check? Okay, I think the rest we are okay. We don't need to check the rest. Then now we have to store the data into database, right? So new user. Change the name because it's a name as add user equals to user.objects.create username equals to username, first name equals to first name, last name, email, and what again? Yeah. So with password, right? With password, Django has a certain method that it uses to hash, because we can't store the raw password data into database. It's not good, it's not ethical, because it will be easy for someone to access people's password in the database. So in programming, there's hashing algorithms around that we use to hash text into a readable text, right? So Django gracefully has a lot of hashing algorithms but it actually recommends a top hashing algorithm. Let me check for. Yeah, so Django password hash. Let's see if we can get something. All right. So this is what I want to show you guys. Django by default, see the default password hashes are this. Django by default has these as the password hashes, and all of them, you know, right? It checks if the hash in the database matches any of these, right? So, for example, if you inherit a code or a system which is built in PHP or even in Django, but the hash is a different form of hash, Django comes with these hashes that you can use to verify your authentication. The bcrypt, I know I've used bcrypt in PHP before. There's Argon 2, and then there's this PBK guys. So when you check this documentation, it shows you what each one of them means. And yeah. But Django prescribes or suggests the first one. That's why it is at the top. The PBKDF2. That's the one that it recommends for users by default. All right. So to add the password to the database, right, you have to do add user dot set password, right? And then you put in the raw password string that we get from here into it. After that, you do add user dot save. Any questions so far?
So what you have done with the password doesn't mean it will be hashed.
Yes, so what we've done here right now, right? The set user password here is a method. I don't know if I can go through it. It's a method that hold on. Where's the user class that I called? This guy. Abstracts. Let me see if I can get some of the methods here. They're not here. So I'm trying to show you guys all of these things so that you understand where they are coming from. Okay, so here's the set password. You see, so it expects the raw password string. You get it? And then
Yes.
it passes it into another method here, which makes the password. So that one too is here. So the password, whether sort or not, and then it checks, it goes to check all of these details that you see, Django doesn't want us to worry about these things. So it has done it for us so that, I mean, we don't need to even think about it at all. All right.
So it's like the hash, it is hashing the password, right?
Yeah, it is hashing. What do you understand by hashing?
Like it will generate some
Encode it,
random
kind of encode it or encrypt it.
Encrypt is like random characters, alphanumeric characters.
Exactly.
So that, I mean, when you see it, you won't be able to predict or and suggest what raw password it is. Right. So after this, right, we want the system to redirect the user to the login page, right? I mean, we also want to send a success message. That message, login was successful. I mean, registration was successful. So account
Exactly.
registration
Created.
was successful. Return redirect. Did we see redirect the last time?
Yes. Yes. I remember.
Okay.
Hey, I have to actually redirect you. What?
All right.
When do you use that namespace in the naming thing? And is it necessary in doing it?
Okay, we'll use it, right? But not here. We'll use the namespace when we get to other apps like maybe props or the others. But when I get there, I'll explain to you. Okay, don't worry. It's not that complicated. All right, so we don't have a login view, right? Because Django comes with a login, an authentication system that we are just going to adopt. I don't want us to write a long authentication, right? I'm going to use Django's own because it's a simple and straightforward. Let me search for it. Authentication. All right. I think these sessions we have to stretch them to 3 hours instead of 2 hours, okay? So that we can get a lot done. What do you guys think? Or we should do twice a week instead of one Saturday?
Any of them goes. We can do the 3 hours instead, and then we can also choose to add one day. Just that the Sunday is still, we are still with Robert on view.
What about Fridays?
Fridays, I am cool with Friday. I don't know of my colleagues.
I'm also cool.
The colleagues in there are all
So
here.
we can do Friday.
All here.
We can do Friday, Saturday.
Hakim, are you okay Friday?
Yeah.
Nice. So
and I'm sure Martin will be cool also. So
okay, all right. Yes, this is what I'm looking for. So you see this particular string here, django.contrib.auth.urls. It contains all these URLs here, right? It has the login, logout, password change done, reset, password resets. All of these things are logically written by Django. Do you get it? So
wow.
Yes, I was expecting someone to say, wow.
What a free Ubuntu.
So they are standard for all the features. So they are standard for login, standard for logout and all that. So in the event you need to write your own custom login, I think I have to do a whole tutorial session where we do a lot of custom stuff, right? Yeah. But for this session, we are just doing standard things in it. All right, so I'm going to copy this particular part and then I'll add it to my main URL file. Where's the guy? Where's he? Yeah, you. Yeah. So I can remove this guy here now because that serves this purpose. And then I'll change this to, let me use an empty parameter. Import include. All right. Okay. So now when I do like the way I did login here, it will work because when you check what I open here, it says that the name is what? Login. The name for logout is logout and all that. All right. You see that it doesn't have for user creation. You see, because that means you yourself, Django expects that you yourself will come up with a sign up feature or registration feature. All right, so this is one, right? So in the app folder, in the user folder, on the user app, I'm going to create a file called url.py and then import from Django.urls import path. And then from dot views, do you guys remember what the dot does? What star?
Yeah.
Do you remember what the dot does and what the star does?
It imports all views.
Yes, all the contents in the views file.
Yes.
These things sometimes they still confuse me. All right, so path sign up. New user. The name will be sign up. Now I'm going back to the main URL file, and then I'm going to add the URLs file of the user, right? Of the user app. So from user imports URLs as user URLs, right? And then part, add the main part here, so user, then we'll have include user URLs, and then namespace first to user. So hack me, right? So the namespace here, you see I have user here, right? It means that when I want to reference the sign up page, let me change this name to sign up. It's looking too much. Yeah. Hope I'm not referencing it anywhere. Yeah. Can you guys hear me? Hello.
Recording in progress.
Hello.
Yeah, we are still here.
I went off. I don't know how or why I went off. Okay. So then I will have to do user colon sign up, right? To get the user URL when you're referencing with the name. We'll see how to use this in the pages, right? So I'm going to create the HTML file called new, right? That will be in the user folder. So user/new.html. All right, so let's see in the browser how it looks like, whether that page will.
So when you on VS Code will do this, create the folder and the file at once.
Yes, it does that.
What a simple way of life.
All right, so right now we have an empty page for the sign up page, right? So we already have a layout file. We are going to inherit the layout file, right? So to do that, we'll have to, there's a tag called extend. Or is it extends?
Extends, yes.
Extends layout.html. And then when I refresh it, now I have it here, right? All right, so the blocks that I was talking about playing, and we are going to see how to use it. So we have blog, title. So this title will be sign up page. And then blog page title will be sign up. All right. So you can see, right? Sign up here, and you look at the title tab, the tab name here to, or the tab title, it says sign up. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So now we have to find a way to put a form, right? That will be in blog content. All right, so we have Bootstrap, so I can do card. I can use a card to do this. Card dot card body card head. What do we find? Right. And then the first attribute is the first name. Text, form control, ID, first name. So one thing you have to do is that you have to make sure that the data or the value you provide for the name attribute here should be the same as what you set out here as well. You get it? Because it is picking from the request. So to look for the name attributes in the input tag, and then to use that one. If you mismatch the names, you are not going to get the data sent to the database. All right, looks cool. Let me add a placeholder. All right, so use the same for last name.
One time you have used small L. I hope that's it.
Come again.
One of the last names you use small L. Won't that be a name mismatch?
The name here is small L, yeah, but last name is small L. When you check what is here, so it's a small L.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then form group, label ID, username. ID username, right? So username placeholder equals to that. Awesome. See, today's session, the pages look nicer than what we did the last time. There are no spaces in between. Wow. So I have to add paddings, right? Bootstrap has, margins.
Yes.
Bootstrap has margin bottom 2. Or we should have margins around, margin 2 for around the content, the elements. Cool, right?
Yeah.
So now we go for email too as well. For the email, the text will be email. The type will be email. email, enter. All right. So one thing that I forgot, you have to specify required fields, right? All of them should be required. Especially email can be, should email be required? What do you guys think? Hello. Also, should email be required? Sorry,
Recording
guys.
in progress.
My internet is stubborn. I was asking, should the email field be required?
We can make it optional.
Can make it optional, right? Also, you said something.
Yes. Unless probably we want to send the user your sign up details to your email address. I hope we can do that.
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that.
Then let's make it required.
All right.
Going forward, if we want to email the registration details to the person, then we'll have access to the email address.
Yeah. All right, so confirm here. My internet is unstable.
Instead of enter confirm password, remove the enter for the placeholder.
Okay, let me use enter password again.
Or confirm password.
All right, so now the button, right? The sign up button.
Yeah.
Input, submit, BTN. Wow, BTN block did not work. Oh, we don't use BTN block anymore.
It is there. So ideally, it's supposed to work.
Bootstrap 5 came with a lot of things, so a lot of unnecessary changes.
Is that a class? Great, something great.
Yeah. Let me see whether it will take effect. Oh, awesome. It did. Let me put some margins beside this, like the way they are margins, so that to align with the form or with the fields. Yeah. Cool. Like this, all right. So there's one base that we forgot to do. Supposed to put this whole thing in a form tag, right? And then CSRF token. Awesome. Okay. Another thing, right? You guys remember that we did in the logic, we wrote something like this: form data equals to request or post, and then we added the form data to the context, right? Which is available in the template. So now what we have to do is for each of the fields, right? We have to, especially for first name, last name, username, and email, we have to add a default value, which will be now. If it is not there, nothing will show. That value is not in the request post, nothing will show there. So we have to do form data dot first name. Let me copy this and then duplicate for the rest. Do you guys get what I'm doing? Hello?
We're seeing what you are doing.
But you don't understand. All right, so this is what I'm doing.
No, we get it.
Yeah. So if we were to be using Django Forms would have handled all of this for us. But we choose that today we are outborrows. So we are going to do our own thing manually. And to do things manually, to sometimes it comes with a lot of stretch. So this is one of it. You have to specify these things yourself, manually yourself. Right. Okay, so since the page redirects, after you've created it, it redirects a login page, I'm thinking we create a login page too as well, right? Before that, you see the messages thing, right? I'm thinking we should use a certain package that will make it look nicer. If there's an error message, it will come nice, very, very nice on the page, instead of us showing just a text. Right. I have the way that I do it. I'm going to introduce you guys to it. So let's search for those are, hello. You guys should be, when I
We are
say
here.
responding, sometimes I'm not sure if my network is out or not. All right. You know what, let's consider that later. The page is not loading as fast as I want. Right. So we can look at Bootstrap alerts. So All right. The CDN. There's a minified. Hmm. Should we use the CDNs? You can copy this and put it in the file, right? I don't like us to use links in because sometimes if you're using a system without internet, that means it has to go and fetch. If it's not able to fetch, then we'll get some errors from JavaScript or from the CSS. So let's create the files, right? Just r.main.css. And then, no, this is a JavaScript. Then we look at the CSS. All right, so now we'll go back to the layout page and then we are going to plug them in. The layout is like our main guy where all our CSS and JavaScript will be found at. So at the top, let me copy this tag here and then visit it. Just our CSS. Just all right, so now let's look at how it is used, okay? So you see, it's very simple. So those are, then the info, and then the message will be inside the bracket, right? It has for success, for warning, for error, of which Django messages has. It has for success, for info, for warning, and then for error, right? So what we are going to do is, this is interesting. I hope you guys will understand this. The Django messages framework is accessible on every HTML page. You don't need to add it to your context or anything, right? And it's messages, so that means it contains a list of messages, which can be looped, or this can be iterated over or looped over or looped to. So we'll do for message in messages, right? Then we'll paste our toast here. Hold on, let me put this in the JavaScript. All right, so now this part of it, right? This is the tag, whether it is error or it is warning or it is success, we can just do message dot tag, right? And then inside this bracket, we can remove what is inside already, and then we'll do message dot, yeah, just message. This one will work. All right. Now let's see if you can test this out. All right, so we'll type Emmanuel, Deborah, password is password, and then I enter a wrong password here. Let's see, because this should give an error, right? And then I do submit. All right, so it didn't work. What I was hoping for did not work. All right, so let me set for it. How to use Django messages with just I think I saw it somewhere. I'm trying my best to make this session for you guys to see how even programmers write code. We don't know everything. We search for things sometimes. All right. Cool. So there's it. Oh no, not this. Yes. It starts. The message should be in quotes. Okay. Wow. So what is JavaScript telling me? Undefined. Hmm. We'll fight this fight another day. Okay, let me just do the simple one that's proven to work. So if messages, and then we'll do for messages, right? Then we'll put, let me copy that. Let's start from Django, from Python. So this guy. Are you guys there? You are very quiet.
We are here.
All right, and then we'll have message.types. Something. Let me check. I want to be sure that when we submit, it actually goes, because I feel it does not go. Type is submit here, and then the posts, the name here is posts. And so if you submit, it should go, right? All right, so it works. Password do not match. It's showing here. Okay. Okay, and then the data is also, you can see the data is now still inside, right? Manual is there, just that the passwords are not showing, but the rest are all there. But I wish the toasting worked. I don't know why it didn't work, but it would have been really, really cool. And also my tag is not showing. The color should show as red or something. So it's not tag. What about tags? Error. Okay, so understand. Bootstrap doesn't have anything like arrow. Bootstrap is rather danger or yeah. So it shouldn't work. I'm just have to put danger. Right. I think this looks presentable. Okay, so this is for the error, right? I wanted us to do a login page before, so that when we have a successful sign up or registration, it will have a place to redirect to, right? So let's see how Django login is like, right? So for Django login, the login view, let me go to the main URL file. I'll show you how the login view is. It's in this folder. How do I get to this file? Contrib, is it here? Django contrib dot auth URL. Right, so it has a login. So this is a login view for Django. Right, so the Django login view comes with an authentication form, right? And then on that authentication form, it does all the validations of the fields in it. So the def claim here is a validation method that comes with Django forms, right? I mean, forms of form. So for example, for this instance, they are trying to validate for username and then a password. If it's not correct, it will return an error message. So Django is handling all of these things for us so that we don't have to write these codes again, right? Okay, so another thing is that it expects the login file or HTML files to be in a folder called registration. Are you guys seeing it? So
Yes.
you will have to create a folder called registration, and in that folder, we'll put the login.html in it. So in the templates folder, I'll create a folder called registration and then a file called login.html. All right, so as usual, I'm going to extend the layout file, blog title, login, blog page title, login, right? And then the content, so blog content, we are going to have a Bootstrap card, card body, then the card body will have a form, a post form, CSRF token as usual. And then the login, see that in the view that I showed you, it comes with a form class. So that means there's a context for form that we can call, right? So we can easily do form.asp. Let's add a user first and see how we can beautify that particular page. So Emmanuel, Deborah, then the username is Ima. Let me use this email. This is a correct email because I don't know what we'll use or what we'll need in the future. So password. Then go. So I'm getting an error. All right. So who can try and interpret what this error is? Does anyone, what if in the future you are building this yourself and you face this kind of error? What do you think is the error?
I think it's like there's no database, right? There's no user in the database, so
Awesome. Awesome.
it can't authenticate.
Tahiru, you are about to say
we
something.
didn't make migration.
Yes,
Yeah, we didn't make migration.
exactly. We didn't make migrations. Great, great. So now we are going to do that. Manage the py, make migrations. All right, so it has done that for us. Now the next thing is to migrate, right? Awesome. 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 Great. So it has worked, right? It has worked. Nice, 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 nice. Now, the login code that I was trying to play, this is what this is what it did, right? You remember when I started a project, I was trying to install a package called Bootstrap 5, right? Django Bootstrap 5, right? So that particular package is very useful when you are using Django Forms. You see, Django Forms does not render your page for you. It doesn't render the input tags for you. It doesn't beautify it with any CSS. So Django Bootstrap 5 will help you to do that nicely. So this is how to use it. So first of all, we have to load it. Bootstrap 5. And then this is how to load it, right? And then the next thing we'll do is to, instead of this, we'll remove this and then we'll replace it with this tags. So Bootstrap 5. Is it Bootstrap Form? Yes, Bootstrap Form. Awesome. Now, when I refresh this page, see how nice it is looking. Very simple and highly organized. You wouldn't have to think about writing your own or calling CSS classes. Django does everything, even with placeholders and all that. There's a way to customize all of these, right? We'll talk about them too again in another advanced or intermediate class. Right, so what I have to do is now add a button. Submit. BTN, finally, okay, right. We copied some great thing from Bootstrap, right?
Come and make the block.
Yeah, the blog thing, or the new thing that they've introduced without telling us. Sometimes this is why I think they don't come. It's like they just introduce new.
They want you to always come back there and come and refresh your knowledge.
They just introduce new things just like that. All right. Login. Now, when you log in, it has to go to another page, right? So let's go back to the login view. Let's see what it says about what I was talking about. It says that it has an attribute called redirect field name. Not that one. That's not the one I'm looking for. Yes. Redirect to or success URL. Remember when we were doing the class-based views, right? Whenever we do a post, you have to redirect to another page, and we normally use something called success URL. So the get success URL method here is specifying that it should use this or this, right? Or default redirect URL. So let's go and check what the default URL that one is. So that one is saying that there should be, it's either picking from a next, we'll talk about next later on. It is something a little bit complicated, but we'll talk about it later on. And then it's also looking for an attribute in the settings file called login redirect URL, right? So we are going to specify this because when you look at the settings file by default, did I close the settings file? It doesn't have anything like login redirect URL, right? It doesn't. So now we will have to specify the login redirect URL and some other attributes I'll add alongside it. So I'm coming down here and add login URL. That's the first one, which will be the login thing.
Login. Okay.
This one is the first one.
What they said there is log. Okay.
Before
the login redirect URL.
So normally we would like to redirect the dashboard page, right?
Homepage.
Homepage. Awesome. So now I'm assuming that this is how the URL will look like. User colon dashboard. So what this means is that in the users app, right, I'm going to have a URL with a name called dashboard, or like the hero said, homepage. Let me change it to homepage. Homepage. Okay, so we don't have this now. So what we have to do is go and create it, right? We'll go to the users app, views, then we'll create the homepage view. User.homepage. That's HTML. All right. So another thing that we have to take into consideration is when a user is not logged in, should they be able to access the homepage? Yes or no? No. Awesome. So that will mean that you have to have Django comes with a decorator. I'd like you guys to read about decorators, right? Let me put the comments here. Read about.
But in some cases, since we might want maybe other farmers to come and they can just what in the page and want to become registered users. Maybe we can give access to people without login to be able to access homepage. But we can then create user page, a page for the user and to do his manipulations, to do his to add his props and those things.
If I understand,
or if the user,
we should have a homepage that every farmer can see, regardless whether.
and just see, yes, whether you are a user or not.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I think user dashboard rather will be better than using than redirecting to the home page. So if the user logs in successfully, we should go to his dashboard.
His dashboard.
Yes, please.
But then we'll still have a home page, right?
Yes, the ask for the home page is mandatory.
So what will be on that home page?
The home page is going to contain, we'll have the nav bar is going to have links to the various sections of the project or the system.
I was thinking.
And then the home page can have.
I'm thinking a home page would be something like a landing page, or
yes.
Yeah, a landing page that when you go there, you can see other farmers' data, but not every data. Some, like maybe you are a wholesaler, or you are you are somebody who sells farm products, right? A supplier, and you want to know what farms that you can get. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yes. On a farming page or on a page for farmer, we weather reports and whatnot, things related to weather, rainfall patterns and whatnot will be valuable to us. So we can have some general information like that.
Anyway, let's just put this there for now. We'll discuss it later. Okay, time is fast spent.
We can discuss. We can do the details on WhatsApp page.
Awesome. All right. So this is what I was talking about. This is a decorator, right? So this decorator is provided by Django, and it checks first. It's a function that is rendered first. So what this function does here, it checks whether the person is logged in. If the person is not logged in, then it will route them out of the system. For class-based views, it is called login required mixing, right? Hack me, is that right? So we have to import it. Why is happening quiet? Why is it quiet like that? Probably is. Come again.
It's dozing.
I'm coding along. I'm not quite. Yes.
You are coding alone. Okay.
Unlike those of us who are waiting for the code.
That's decorators How can I get decorators? I don't think it's here. Wow. Let me search online. Login required.
I think it's in view also.
Come again.
I'm seeing something like Django.views.decorators.
Also, Django.views.decorators imports login required. Nice. Thanks. All right, so now let's create the dashboard file. And then let's extend layout. All right, then we need a URL, right? We need a
Yes.
URL. Dashboard. Okay. So now when we log in, right, according to what we've set, we've added to the settings here. When we log in, it will redirect us to this page.
Yes. Remember to start the server again.
My server is off. Wow, how did you see?
Because we made this migrations, you didn't go back to the server.
Yeah, but it was working. What is it saying? Cannot import name, login required from. So my import is wrong. Admin, are you sure? Oh, I'm not spelling it well. Wow. Let me look for it again. Yeah, so it's here.
I'm
Django
seeing
country.
auth decorators.
Okay. Okay, the server is up now. All right, so I've already created a user, right? I have a problem with this guy here. Because I want the home page to have, when you do, let me see, if I do this, all happen. It does not exist. Cool. So we can still use it. All right. So now I have a user name, email, and the password is password. Now you see it has brought me to the dashboard page, right?
Yes.
Where's the dashboard page? Let me put some things on it so that you can verify. Start to okay. Small, we are making steady progress.
Exactly.
This thing is it's responsive. That's fine. All right, so I think we need to end here, right? Today, what we've done is we've completed a sign up. We've completed the login as well. We've specified the modules for all the apps that we created, right? And I think we've made a lot of progress today. Any questions to ask? Please ask.
I think you will push this on GitHub for us to clone.
Yes, I'm thinking about it. Probably I'll push it on GitHub and then I'll make it accessible. I'll put a link in a group for you all to have access to it.
So that we can clone it. Because honestly speaking, I am not following with typing. I'm just participating.
Yeah, today I'm not hoping for this
But
session.
I want that if I go.
I'm not hoping for you guys to follow along. I'll share the codes with you. When you go and you watch the video with the codes, you should be able to understand what was done at.
To understand better, yeah.
Also, Jay, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
All right, ask me.
Yeah.
Are we learning new things?
Yes, sir. Sure.
Nice.
Which day is your freest day? That you are a bit free. I can see that the whole week looks so cumbersome for you. I want to just look for you and trap you. If I trap you, I will use you and you yourself will be surprised.
Okay, so for me, I'm free. Just that sometimes, you know how these things are. You can have a meeting at any time or...
So which part of Accra do you live? I'm far away in Ashama.
I'm not even in Accra, I'm Makaswa. That's why my network is always bad.
That place is also called Accra.
Kaswa is also Accra.
Yes, it's part of Accra.
Kaswa is not Accra. Kaswa is central.
That is if you are looking at the geographical dimensions. But Kaswa people, they all work in Accra.
I know, you don't mind them. We are not
Nobody from Kaswa works. Nobody from Kaswa works in Cape Coast.
Yeah, we all come to Accra to work.
Exactly. They chop Accra market.
So thank you guys for your time, man. I think today I've taken a lot of your time too. So what we've agreed on is
today has been a very...
What we've agreed on is to do Fridays and then Saturdays, right? Same time, right?
Yes.
8 to 10 for the 2 days so that we can have 4 hours. I really want us to complete this
today
project.
We have done 3 hours.
Yeah. Done 3 hours today. All right, so I'm about to push the quotes, okay? Does anyone have any
questions? So if you push it.
Yeah, I wanted to find out. I know this class is supposed to be back-end, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but it looks like what we are doing is sort of front end.
You know, yeah. Okay.
Back end will not relation. To me, that's my thinking.
This is what I'm doing, right?
The back end will not work in isolation. We need some little front end for the back end to for us to see what we are doing.
Exactly. But this is Python Django session, and Django there's also a Python framework for backend for proper API development called the Django REST framework, right? So I can't just move you guys directly to Django REST framework. Other than that, when I start writing certain syntax, you wouldn't understand. But now that we are doing Django, when I'm moving you guys into Django REST framework, you see some similar syntax and you'll be okay with it. You get it? It made the transition very easy for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Emma,
And yeah.
I get it.
Mr. Emma,
Yeah.
please, apart from Amate, who is not here,
I think it's only Amate.
I don't think it's only Amate who is not here. So the rest of the other people, I don't even think they will join. So we already have the four of us have a page that Robert is on it. At least we are. Robert made a proposal for us to come aboard for proper mentoring. So I still think that either we don't page with you also for the back end, so that we know that only the four of us plus you. Nobody should come next week and come and be dragging us back.
Oh, for
These
the dragging us
people
back,
actually be
thanks,
serious with this.
thanks to the YouTube videos. Anyone who comes to drag us back, I'll just refer them to the videos. You get it?
To the YouTube video, that is okay.
Yeah,
That is
because I know we've
Okay.
come very far. We've done a lot of things, and to be difficult for us to be going back and forth. Hack please ask your question.
So technically, when you want to use the front end framework like the Vue, we have to do the back end with the REST framework like an API so that we consume it in the back front end or
Exactly. And there's also something called Firebase. Firebase is a database. It's a cloud database which allows you to, which somehow serves as a back end. You get it? That recently I've been learning React.js, and one of the videos that I'm watching, the guys were using React directly with Firebase, and I realized that yeah, it means that we are using Vue.js or Angular or React, you might not even necessarily need a traditional API. You get it? You can use the Firebase, but like you said, if you're using Vue or React, you will need an API, a REST framework API, or a SOAP API to consume to get the data dynamically.
okay. So in that case, when hosting, you host the API separately, then you host maybe the Vue application separately. Then you
Yes,
consume it from that server.
yes.
Then
This
that
is
one
very
is cost. Then the cost is very because you're hosting like two different servers.
yes, that's one of the disadvantages, but it's very good that you build systems that way in isolation, because when you have all of them as one, right, and there's an issue with the front end, probably maybe some JavaScript issue, you get it, it will stop the backend from working. Like example, like this Django project that we're working, we are trying to develop. If we have a lot of JavaScript in it, and especially some of them are CDN, and someone is trying to access the system and the person doesn't have internet, it will seem like the entire system is at fault, but probably it's just the JavaScript or the front end which is problematic. Do you get it? So
Yeah.
normally it's best to have a front end so that you can well manage the front end, identify front end codes easily, and you should have a different server handling the backend too as well. It is good for code management too. And with yeah,
Apart from the CDN, can't we install JavaScript on the Django?
you can't, but
Okay.
these JavaScript frameworks, they also have CDNs, right? React has a CDN, Vue has a CDN.
Okay.
So you can use them in Django. You can use their CDNs in Django, but you can't install.
And Bootstrap as well.
Yeah, we are using Bootstrap here, right?
Exactly.
This is Bootstrap that we are using. Just that this is not the CDN. You know, the CDN means that we are picking it from the Bootstrap server itself. We are not having the Bootstrap domain or CSS.
Okay.
We are using the Bootstrap link itself. Yeah. Any other question? Any more questions?
Okay. Well, okay.
Okay. All right. So we'll continue on next week Friday, right?
Yes, please. I'll give a reminder on Friday morning, God's willing,
Great.
and then and the link.
Awesome. All right, guys. Bye-bye. Thanks for joining today.
So we are expecting two things: the video and then the code.
The code. Yeah, exactly.
The code plus the video, and I'm sure you are pushing all tonight.
Yeah, I'll try. I'll try. If not tonight, tomorrow you'll get it.
Okay. Yeah.
Ask me, why are you laughing?
Thanks so much.
It's like
from the way he was speaking,
Acme knows very well that I'm not pushing it, so he's laughing.
Yeah, yes, true.
No, I know you are pushing, so
It's not my fault, though.
I'm going to. I'll remind you, sir.
You guys should be reminding me. You should remind me. I'll push it. If not today, tomorrow I'll push it.
Okay. All right. All the best.
Bye-bye, guys.
Have a fruitful week.